Hello guys, welcome here to Out of Turn 4. I'm Brian here. Coming up on the show, we are going to recap NASCAR at Pocono. We're also going to recap the doubleheader at Iowa. Not much to recap, but we're going to recap it. But we begin, of course, we'll begin this time with IndyCar from Iowa. Of course, Joseph Newgarden, he sweeps the weekend. First time the weekend has been swept in a doubleheader weekend in IndyCar since Graham Rahal did it back in 2017. So congratulations to Joseph Newgarden. He is on a roll on these ovals. If they only had a few more of those, I bet you he wishes that, of course. But man, if there were just a few more, I think he'd be within like 40 more points of Joseph Newgarden or of Alex Palou right now. So you know he's wishing there was at least one more on the schedule or two more on the schedule to get him closer. Nonetheless, congratulations to him. Not much to really recap. I didn't get to see much of the race, unfortunately. So we'll move on to Truck Series at Pocono, and Kyle Busch, he gets KBM their 100th NASCAR victory at Pocono, of course. That one really not much of a shocker. Of course, him and Corey Heim had quite a race there toward the end. Corey had the lead, and unfortunately on a late restart lost it. But hey, to go toe-to-toe with probably one of the best in the Truck Series and to finish second, there's really no shame in it. Congrats to Corey as well. But congrats to KBM and Kyle Busch. Big win for them this weekend. Moving on to the Xfinity Series at Pocono, and Austin Hill was victorious there. That's his fourth win of the year. And they now essentially reestablish themselves in this title race. And it's a big win because, of course, for those who don't know, they heated up really early. Austin Hill and that team looked really good really early. They've kind of simmered down mid-season, haven't been much of a factor, and now they're back in it, essentially, with that win. And, I think it's just proving more and more that this championship battle is going to be between him and John Hunter Nemechek. So it'll be exciting to watch as we go through the final weeks of the regular season and, of course, into the playoffs in a month and a half or so. Moving on to the Cup Series, and man, oh man, first off, the crowd, phenomenal. From everything I've seen on TV, I can't believe Pocono is doing this well with the crowd. So, but Denny Hamlin, of course, goes on to win his 50th career race, his second of the season. But it wasn't without controversy, of course. A lot to unpack in this one. Of course, Austin Dillon mad at Tyler Reddick, of all people, throwing the helmet at him. Then, of course, you had Ryan Preece, Corey LaJoie mad at each other. Oh, and then Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson mad at each other. Let's start with, Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, and, first off, Tyler Reddick's somewhat at fault, but at the same time, it looks like Dillon came down the track. That's a tough one for me to gauge based on the replay, but I would say both are semi at fault in this. But of course, I also got to give Austin Dillon's helmet toss a F-. Say the least, F-. Then moving on to Corey LaJoie, Ryan Preece. Of course, Ryan Preece spun to bring out the last caution. I believe he got help from Corey LaJoie. If you haven't seen the NASCAR onboard camera, of course, it picks up the mic as well. You'll get a good laugh out of it. But needless to say, Ryan Preece upset, big time upset at Corey LaJoie. And then, of course, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. Now, this is one I want to spend quite a bit of time on, at least as we recap this. So, of course, Denny Hamlin pulls the old give one lane, to Kyle Larson. It's his choice to lift or hit the wall, the new move that Ross Chastain essentially started. Sorry, I'm trying to be sure I cover all the news as well. But, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe, and of course, Kyle Larson goes straight up into the wall, nothing he could do. And of course, his day comes to an end right there. Essentially, he did finish the race, but boy, he struggled to continue to the end. So, I just, and of course Kyle Larson shows his displeasure at the line under caution. But I just, first off, Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman as well. Forgot about that. Alex Bowman, of course, spins out in front of Denny Hamlin. Team believes that he hit him. And, of course, Hamlin's like, I hit nobody in post-race as the fans are booing him. You did hit Kyle Larson. You didn't hit Alex Bowman. You came very close. But let's face it, the reputation you've gotten racing Alex Bowman the last few weeks, I don't think he's going to believe it whether or not he sees a replay of it. He's just not going to believe it. Kyle Larson, though, bullshit. You hit him, dude. You hit him. Okay, and I gotta say, going along with the lines of what Kyle Petty said, Denny Hamlin has got to stop playing the victim in the Cup Series. He's got to stop playing victim. He plays victim, almost every time he causes a wreck. Every time. But the second someone does the exact same thing to him, he's up getting SMT data or whatever it is, and trying to get that driver suspended. I mean, Chase Elliott was justified. That was justified. But he was out here, bitching and throwing a fit about Ross Chastain. I mean, absolutely throwing a fit about him. But again, when he does it, it's totally fine. Definitely the most, to me, two-faced hack. First off, two-faced hack. And by the way, he doubled down on his podcast. But Denny Hamlin, by far the most two-faced hack. And, just the biggest hack in NASCAR in general. I just don't get what fans' obsession with him is. He does nothing good for the sport. And I'm not going to be afraid to say it, because you know what? No one else will. Denny Hamlin does nothing good for NASCAR. Okay, he's a very smart guy. Clearly he is, or else he wouldn't be such a narcissistic prick, But what does Denny Hamlin do that's good for the sport? What has he done? Okay, 50 wins, 3 Daytona 500 championships. But has he won an actual championship? No. Okay? He spends most of his time bitching about everyone else's racecraft, but the second he does it, it's turn a blind eye, didn't see it, don't know what you're talking about. All I'm going to say is personally, and this is just me, I'm sure it's going to piss off a lot of people, probably make them turn the show off if they haven't already by me saying that Hamlin's a hack. Denny Hamlin could retire tomorrow, and I wouldn't give a shit. I'm going to tell you right now. Now, obviously, let me clarify. I hope he doesn't retire like Kurt Busch did. Obviously don't want that, ever, for anyone. I don't care how much I hate the driver. But Denny Hamlin could retire tomorrow. I wouldn't give two shits about it. And I think the sport would be better off if he retired tomorrow. Because like I said, what has he done that's actually good for the sport, that's helped the sport grow? He's done nothing. Okay? He thinks, you know, he thinks he's number one and everybody else has to just follow. And just, you know, and to race your best friend like that, and Kyle Larson, you know, these guys play pickleball together and stuff. You know, you'd think there'd be a different level of respect going there. All I could say is this about Hendrick Motorsports, and I hope, and it makes my friends angry hearing this as well, I hope that HMS has saved up all these receipts, because he's wrecked every single HMS car at least once. And the one time was Chase Elliott this year. He's wrecked every HMS car with the exception of William Byron this year. He has not wrecked William Byron, to my knowledge, or raced him aggressively. So I'm hoping that these 3 HMS cars are saving the receipts. Now, Chase might be more even than the rest of them. But I'm hoping that Bowman and Larson don't get him back at Richmond. Don't get him back at Richmond. Save it till the round of 8 and make sure that he is in a compromising position going into Martinsville. And if he's not in that compromising position at Martinsville, or he advances to the championship, I would make sure Phoenix is a living hell for him. I'd make sure that he does not win this title at all. And if it means that you lose the respect of your fan base for it, so be it. He needs to learn a lesson. You know, Denny Hamlin needs to start learning he's not the only one on this racetrack. And you know what? And don't even apologize for it either. Just go up and say, you know, dude, wasn't my fault. I didn't touch you. Just go up and say, just deny it. You know, that's what I would do if I'm Kyle Larson. I would straight up say, I didn't touch you. And let it go at that point. But again, just to put it out there, I honestly wish, you know, if Denny Hamlin retired today, I wouldn't care. That's the summary of it. Denny Hamlin could retire today. The sport would be better off without him. And frankly, I think a lot of people would be very, very happy if he retired today, because he's never going to get a championship. So why is he wasting his time doing this? So all I could say about this news was just wow. Justin Haley, he is going to move from Colleague Racing to Rick Ware Racing. So, oh man, like I said, all I could say is wow. This was news I did not expect to see, and it sounds like, the more I read into it, it sounds like yeah, this just ruins his career. But again, the more I read into it, you know, it sounds like it's going to be an RFK alliance. And RFK is going to provide a massive bit of help to Rick Ware. But again, I just can't help but feel like this ruins his career. But it sounds like, based on every other report that we've also read this weekend, is he was going to be on the out anyway. Just disappointing, I think. I know Colleague has not exactly had the best year this year. You know, I know that they've got to figure something out at the Cup level. I mean, I think, you know, they can be proud of everything they're doing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I think the 10 cars performing, you know, well enough to win that owner's title with the number 19 or with the 20. Or I'm sorry, I think they're performing well enough to compete for the owner's title with the 19 or the 20 or the 21. But I feel like, you know, Cup Series, they've been below par. I mean, AJ's in the playoff hunt. I think that's really big for this organization. But I feel like they've, minus the consistency, I feel like they haven't been anywhere close to winning a race. I feel like they've been hardly close at best. But again, I feel like as far as Justin Haley's career goes, I mean, unless this is the plan that he's on indefinite loan to Rick Ware Racing, which is one rumor I read from fans on Twitter, so take it, however you want, but maybe he's going to be the driver in the number 6 in a few years. That's a possibility. Or maybe just Rick Ware Racing wants to improve their team. But I think this is just a questionable career move at best. And again, I keep saying about Corey LaJoie, maybe moving to the Xfinity Series would be a better option, but seeing how many sponsors Spire has just brought in, and big sponsors too, I'd say that team's going to be on the up and up. So I just don't see that from Rick Ware Racing. So we'll see what happens, I guess, with Justin next year. And as far as the 31 goes, I've heard rumors of Austin Hill. I feel like, this would be a lateral move for him. I don't feel like Austin Hill is going to be that, talent that they need to get to the next level, but I feel like he's the guy. I just feel like that's probably going to be the option because he has funding. I've heard SVG's name floated around, and I hope that's not the case. And I like SVG. I want to see him run in the Cup Series full time. But as far as Kaulig's growth in the sport, I feel like that's not going to be a good decision. And Chandler Smith's about a year away from running Cup. He needs at least one more Xfinity season, maybe 2. And then maybe we can start talking about him moving up the ladder. But again, just kind of a shocking story, I think, and that's why I've been kind of, struggling to find the words for this. This is news I didn't expect to see. So, but again, good for Justin Haley if he's happy. Good for Kaulig, I guess, if, the rumors of Austin Hill or SVG are true. And we'll just see what occurs over the coming weeks. All right. Excuse me. Truck Series at Richmond. Sorry, the entry list isn't exactly up, but I'm going to probably go Carson Hocevar. I'm going to say he's going to get the win. Carson Hocevar. Xfinity Series at Road America. I can't believe AJ Allmendinger's on the entry list, and I'm wondering if that's a mistake. But if it's not, AJ's going to be my pick for that. This is just his kind of track, and he'd be the only Cup guy in the field. And then Cup Series of Richmond, I just can't wait to see how this whole shit show plays out. That's all I got to say about that. I can't wait to see how this shit show plays out. But unfortunately, I'm going to go with Truex. He wins the boring races, and the short tracks haven't improved a whole lot. So I've got to go with Martin Truex Jr. I think he's going to win. Excuse me, sorry, I'm very tired, guys. But he's going to win at Richmond, I think. So there it is. There's my picks. Thanks for watching. Tune in for Out of Turn 4, or for No Final Bell tomorrow, and we'll see you back here for Out of Turn 4 next Tuesday. Till then, goodbye, everyone.